Hey everybody, welcome back to Behind the Spacebar. This is the podcast for playback engineers or anyone that performs on stage with Ableton Live. My name is Will. Thanks so much for joining me. If this is your first time, welcome. If this is not your first time, welcome back. Glad to be here. I've got a very special episode today. I'm actually going to give you kind of a peek behind the scenes of my all access community. If you're unfamiliar with that, that is the community where you get access to every single course that I have, every single template, product, patch, preset. I no longer sell those. The only way to get access to those is by being an all access community member. And I'm super excited to announce something we have been testing for the past few weeks. It's not my top secret project I've been speaking of on the podcast, but group coaching. So now when you subscribe to the all access community, what you get is a weekly group coaching call with me where I do a little bit of teaching. I answer all your questions. It's an incredible opportunity where we celebrate wins. We talk about key insights and takeaways. And then we walk away from every single thing that we talk about with one thing that we can apply and work on for the next week. So it's a great community if you're looking to learn, but also get the accountability to make that happen, as well as some coaching. Because I have learned in years and years and years of teaching, it's not just information that matters. It's also help with implementation. And information plus implementation equals transformation. It's a lot of fancy words, and I sound like a business coach. But ultimately what that means is if you're after an outcome, the way to achieve that is information and implementation. And you get that when you're a part of my all access community. You can click the link in the description below to learn more, to become a part of that, to join us for our next group coaching call that happens every single week. But in the meantime, I want to share an excerpt from our very first group coaching call ever, where I shared a couple tips and tricks that will help you in the process of updating your OS on your computer. And you're going, wow, well, real exciting episode here. You really, pulled out all the stops in this one. This is a super important thing though, particularly as we're not too far away from the recent release of Sonoma on Mac. Getting a lot of questions, people going, hey, Will, should I upgrade? How should I do this? I share a couple just quick points that if you take these to heart, it will allow you to successfully upgrade your OS and have no problems whatsoever. If you're using your computer on stage, this is an essential skill to master. And I taught this for our very first group coaching call. And I want to give this away to you for free to give you a peek behind the scenes to see what's happening. So if you're interested in this and you go, hey, I want a little more of this, plus I want access to over 60 courses that are available on demand, even without Wi-Fi, use the iPhone, Android app, web app, get access to the community, get access to these group coaching calls, as well as exclusive discounts, all the templates, patches, presets that you need to be a successful playback engineer, then you need to click the link in the description below. Head to fromstudiotostage.com to learn more about the all access community. So without any further ado, let's dive into today's call. I'm not going to wrap up at the end, so I will see you early. I'm going to head off, but I'm going to teach as Will in the past. So let's go from present Will to past Will, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy today's episode. Bye, everybody. But this is a process I think we can all apply to upgrade our machines and to do it in a way that doesn't cause issues for our show. So I know, in particular, just knowing K's out on the road, I know that if he were to upgrade his machines like right now in the middle of a show, that is not a good thing. We'll talk about a way to avoid that. But you also don't want to be on the flip side of where I am, which is I've waited so long that this machine is a little behind, and I'm doing coaching sessions with people and trying to go to places, and things are just in different places. So it's super important that we keep our stuff updated. It's super important Kay, so that's why I didn't do it right now. Exactly. And Kay's really going to appreciate step number 1 and 2 of this process that I'll share here in a second. But it's super important that we do upgrade, but we do it in a way that doesn't wreak havoc for our show. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to spotlight my video for a second. Spotlight for everyone so you can see this. And then what I'm going to do is it's going to look like I disappear for a second. I'm actually going to share this so that, okay, cool, that works. So you can still see me and see my fancy telestrator for a second. So again, if you want to follow along, download the PDF to add this info in. But process of upgrading. This is the process I've taken for many years. Number 1, and this is the most important, and Kay just proved my point here. Number 1 is wait. Okay, so stand by. There you go. Number 1 is wait. So you'll notice on the community earlier this week, Grant, and this is I don't think Grant's on the call, but he actually messaged me back. he very wisely asked, hey, should I update to macOS Sonoma? And I said, hey, wait just a second. I'm going to actually share my findings. I was on a call with who was a coaching call earlier this week. I can't remember who it was. And they were struggling to get audio going into Ableton. And I'd realized that, okay, they upgraded to macOS Sonoma and they just could not get audio in. And there's one small little setting in Sonoma that they had to disable in order for audio to get into Ableton. And it wasn't the security preference thing that we've all seen. It was isolate audio, this isolate audio feature. So it's important to not, when a new OS comes out, it's important not to jump the gun and like do it right away. Yes, often there's like security updates, there's new features, which are great, but it's really important to wait. As Kay mentioned, Kay's in the middle of a run of shows. If you're out on the road with an artist, you're on tour, do not do this. Just wait. You want to give it a couple weeks for bugs to be fixed. I typically don't try to update right when it releases. I try to wait till a couple versions later, maybe a month. You know, I would say at the very earliest, like 2 weeks to wait to get some of the bugs fixed. Number two kind of ties into this though, is be intentional. Okay. And what I mean by that is these kind of tie in together. Be intentional. Do not upgrade on a show. If you're in the middle of a show and you're like, oh, we've got some downtime between these two dates, do not upgrade then, because if you do, something's going to happen. You've got to think about plugins. You've got to think about apps. You've got to think about drivers for different things. If you're not using class compliant stuff, you've got to think about how that interacts with stuff. And with every upgrade, with every new addition of things, there are things that don't work well. So you may go, okay, Ableton said, I've got the all clear to upgrade, but you've probably got plugins on your system. You've probably got apps on your system. You're probably using MIDI controllers in your rig. And all of those things combined, all of those deals are going to interact together. So we've got to make sure that all of that, give it enough time for all of that to upgrade. So that's number one, wait. But then number two, be intentional. Do not do it in between a show. Do not do it right before you head out on a tour. Give it enough time to know it's stable. You've got enough feedback from other, from studio to stage members. We've done another group coaching call and everyone's gone, hey, it's working well for me. Or you've got a list of the bugs and things to currently track and keep track of to work through. And then once you get the all clear, wait till you have a month off. Wait till you have a couple weeks off to upgrade. And we'll talk about a process I'm going through that I've encouraged you to do that will ensure that you're never going to have issues, right? So we'll talk about that in a second. Number three process for me is backup, but we're going to talk about two different types of backups. The first one here is backup files. Okay, and what I mean by that is literally I'm going to contextualize it just to Mac, because I think most of us in the community are on Macs. If you're on a PC, I'm not trying to isolate you using Windows, not trying to isolate you. It's just the world I know. If you literally open Finder, you plug in a hard drive and you just drag files over. Yes, we'll talk about an additional type of backup in a second, but this to me, backing up your files is all about one thing. It's all about portability. It's all about if something were to go wrong and your upgrade, something happens and you have to switch over to another computer, you have those files on your hard drive and you can just go plug it into your other drive, right? I showed you earlier, I'm on my B machine here. That's my B machine, right? If something were to happen, we're going to get like I'm not going to share my screen. We'll see that going. If I went from my A machine over to my B machine and needed to right now, it's perfectly fine for me because all I have to do is just literally drag my files that are on a hard drive that I'm working on from my A machine to my B machine. I can test it. Something goes wrong with my B machine, perfectly fine. I move those files over. So first thing I do for backup is backing up files. That's for portability's sake, so I can move those, shift those around. The fourth one is back up your computer. And we'll say like system as well too, okay? The tool I used to do this that I really like on Mac, there's obviously Time Machine. So a couple different options here. We'll pencil these in. If you know about these already, don't worry about taking notes on them. But Time Machine is a great option. Make this a little smaller. There we go. Backblaze is what I personally use. Okay. Backblaze has worked really, really well for me. That is cloud backup. So it's not just backing up locally, it's backing up to the cloud. That's really, really helpful and beneficial to me to have that computer, that system level backup as well too. So I don't worry about what you'll see in this next step here. We're going to get a little more picky about things. I just back up as is. I don't care. Oh, do I actually need that file later? It doesn't matter. It goes on a hard drive. Storage is cheap enough. I can buy another hard drive for $100 or less. And so I'm just going to just drag those files over, backing up my files, backing up my machine. Two more here. Number 5, I want you to do an audit. And so when it comes to the audit, what I mean by that is opening your computer up. And I literally did this. Again, let's jump over to this machine. Let me jump over here with my mouse. I literally went into my computer. This is already kind of wiped and started fresh. We'll talk about that more in a moment. But I literally went over to my computer. Let's move that so you can see it for a second. And I looked at all my apps and I went, okay, do I need these apps? Do I need that app? What's the stuff that I need on this machine? So that I know, and this will make sense in a second, so I know what I need to bring back in and reinstall on that machine. Okay. So when we're talking about auditing here, the things I'm talking about auditing is apps, okay, plugins, maybe any like little helper things, helper apps that you don't really see, but they like live in your menu bar. Another thing you may want to do is audit files. It's more important to me though, instead of auditing files, it's more important to me that you do these pieces here, right? Because storage is so cheap, just back everything up. Don't worry about really auditing it, but audit apps, plugins, helper apps, files. I literally have, I don't know if I can find it in time. I literally have an index card here where I went and audited my B machine. And I found out the apps that I have on there that I need to reinstall. And I audited my A machine and went, okay, there's a few other apps here that I have. I can't find it in this list now, but I went, these are the like key apps that I need to make sure I have access to at every moment, right? And the reason why does that matter? Well, because number 6 to me, and some of you may fight me on this. Some of you say, well, this isn't actually necessary, Will, but number 6 is to start from scratch. Okay. I've heard this called multiple things, right? Start from scratch. Clean install. That's what I've heard it called. What's another one? Like nuking your system, right? But this is basically where what we're not doing, just to compare this, we are not doing a restore from backup. And the reason this is really important, you guys let me know in the chat if this is the way you do this or if you always restore from backup. The reason this is, it's really important to me to not do this, to not restore from backup, is when I'm dealing with a backup, I'm literally taking the issues I had on my previous machine and I'm bringing them to my new machine, right? And I'm just going to continue that thread and that issue over and over and over. When I don't restore from backup and I do a clean install or I start from scratch, what that gives me an opportunity to do, it's almost like spring cleaning. It's almost like going through your house and going, we got to get rid of stuff. We just literally did that here at my house where I think we had like 4 trash bags, probably 5 trash bags full of things to donate because we're like, we don't need those clothes anymore. Our kids don't need those toys anymore. They've outgrown them. Yeah, Kay's reiterating, always starting clean. I think starting clean is super important, but I have found the way to start with a clean install and do it successfully that's really helpful is that you do that audit. So please do that audit so that when you go to start from scratch, you literally have a list of the apps that you need to install. If you want to be brave, the best way to do this is to, what's the best way to say it? The best way to do this without having a gig currently looming. Like if you have no gig that you're planning for, Kay was talking about, or not Kay, Kane was talking about first show coming up here close. Mark is talking about the booking in London. If I don't have a date I'm working towards and it's just kind of like whenever, I think the best way to start from scratch is to not audit and just work until you need something. That's a really bad way to do it though. If you are like gainfully employed and you have a gig coming up soon, the worst thing you want to do is get on the gig and go to do something and go, oh, where's that app, right? And not have it. So for me, doing that audit is helpful. what are things I actually need, start from scratch is really helpful. I've got some bonus things I want to share as we wrap up here. Bonus pieces of advice as you do this is do a burn in. Okay. And what a burn in is it's a B machine. It's a uh, backup computer, right? And I'm not doing this on my like live machine. I'm not doing this on the machine I'm about to use for a gig. I've got a downtime before I have to actually do a playback gig again live. So I feel confident I'm actually taking the B machine of my redundant rig and doing this. And I'm literally, this is wiped clean, right? There's nothing on there other than just default apps right now. And I'm literally starting this from scratch. And I'm going to do a burn-in scenario where a burn-in is basically normal activities, meaning playback, whatever, with normal apps, right? I'm doing all of that on a backup computer. And the reason I'm doing this is the final piece, and then we'll get to some questions. The reason I'm doing this process is I have, again, this computer over here, completely brand new, completely from scratch. I'm going to use this and treat this as if it was my work computer. Ableton's going on this. All my apps I need for playback are going on this. Set list, AbleSet, everything. My MIDI controllers will be plugged into this. And I'm going to create some burn-in scenarios where I'm literally going to walk through as if I have a show. I'm going to load some show files on it. I'm going to run it for a few hours, just plan some time to just run files and go, okay, what works well, what doesn't work well. And then I'll be able to ascertain, I think is the right word. That's a fancy word, makes me sound intelligent. I'm going to determine, okay, this system is good. I'm fine to back up. Then I'm going to apply the same process to my A machine, get that up to date, and then we'll go walk through the process. So that's a process to me to do this in a way that isn't going to cause issues, right? That isn't going to have me upgrading between shows when I shouldn't. It's a way to do this to where again, you're not going to be like me where you wait forever to upgrade and then eventually you're forced into upgrading. Maybe that's okay. Maybe that's fine. But it's also going to allow you to do that in a way that's clean, that's efficient, that you're going to know for sure that it worked before we move on. Okay,